This is what the finished product will look like, where the enemy will follow you, and then when he gets close, every 2 seconds will deal some damage to you. And you can, I'm just gonna run away. But it'll still keep following me. Also, this tutorial is all in GitHub where you can look at the code, and also I have a Discord server in the description where you can ask any questions about coding and talk to other fellow developers. Lastly, the music in this tutorial is by my friend Darren. I'll leave a link down in the description to his channel. Be sure to look at his channel and subscribe if you like the music. Thanks. Hello everyone, my name is Ramba Mamba, back at it, and in this episode of our FPS tutorial, we'll be making an enemy that can actually follow you, and if he gets close enough, it'll start damaging you. And the main method that we're going to be using is we're going to be using the NavMesh agent and the built-in AI system for Unity. So the first thing we need to do is make a NavMesh baked so that our enemy recognizes what area is walkable. So I can actually select window and then go to AI and select navigation. And then over here on object, I can select the two objects that I want to be part of the ground. So my ground and this cube. So I'll select both of them using shift. And then I'll click on navigation static. And now if we go into the bake tab, we can click the bake button. And now it automatically makes a playing field of where this agent that we're going to be using can walk on. Now we can simply just make an agent and we can put it on our enemy so that our enemy will follow us. So I'll select our enemy opponent, go back to the inspector, and I'll add a component and it'll be NavMesh agent. And so we'll just use the default settings for now. You can change these to change how steep of an angle it can turn, how close to the edges it can turn, and all that jazz. Now I'll go into the script that we've been working on for our enemy, the enemy script, and I'll double tap on it to open it up in Visual Studios. Okay, so my script is loaded up, and first let's make void update again, because we deleted it, but we'll be needing it. And let's make a reference to the NavMesh agent, so we can do public NavMesh agent, and I'll just call it agent. And also an important thing to note is that at the very top you will be needing to have using Unity Engine, and then also using Unity Engine.ai. Following after we have the agent, we can now make a reference to our player, so public transform player. And basically what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to be setting the destination of the agent to the player. So in update we can do agent.set destination, and we can simply tell it player.position. So now if I save this, go back into Unity, and clicking on my opponent and going to the script, we have for the agent we can drag in the NavMesh agent, and then for our player we can drag in our player. So I just tried this, so my two are already filled in, but in your case you would want to drag in NavMesh agent and player for these two slots. So now if I hit play, if I look, you can see that the enemy is just following me vigorously wherever I go. If I stop for a second, it'll just start banging into me wherever I run. It's just running into me. So this is perfect for the first portion where we can get the enemy follow, and we can tweak a few things such as its speed and acceleration. Personally, I think it's way too fast, so I'll set it to a speed of 2, and I'll also set 2 seems good. One more thing that we can do is that you can notice that it's a little bit shaky when it collides into objects, and so if we go into a rigid body, we can change the interpolate to interpolate. This just makes it so it's like a cleaner rigid body system, and it won't shake as much, and it'll be cleaner collisions. I'll do this on my player as well. So on my player, I'll make sure that interplay is selected. Now we can get started by checking if an enemy is really close to you, then you can start dealing damage. And we can play an animation, like a zombie animation, for example. Our health script on our player, let's create a new function that will take care of checking if an enemy is nearby. So we'll call this void check zombie. And in it, we'll use physics sphere to check if anything is within its vicinity. So physics dot check sphere, and now we need to specify from what location and how far. So transform dot location, transform dot position, my bad, and we need to tell it a radius. So something like 1 will do now for now. And we can convert this into an if statement by just putting if before it and then the brackets. So now that we know if something is within its vicinity, we can check if it is if it's actually a zombie. So we can do this using a layer mask. So I'll add a layer mask here. Basically, a layer mask is a way of organizing all of your objects in your scene. So we can make a new layer mask and assign it to our enemy, so that now we can ignore everything that isn't our enemy in our check sphere. So I created a public layer mask enemy and then put it down here. So now if we have an enemy within that radius, we can deal damage to ourselves. So we can do take damage and pass through the variables something like 5. This will take 5 damage to ourselves. However, this will happen as soon as something is within the vicinity. It will happen over and over immediately, and then the player's health will go down instantly instead of happening at an incremental time. So we can use an invoke repeater to do this job. Basically, an invoke repeater does a task at every few seconds at a set interval. So I'll create the start function again using public void start. We can do invoke repeating. Now we need to tell it what function to run. So we want to run check zombie every 2 seconds, I would say. Check zombie. I'll just copy that over. So 2F and 2F. So now if we save this, go into Unity, we need to create that layer mask to assign what the enemy is. So if I click on my enemy and go into layer, I can add a layer and I'll call it enemy. I already have it created, but if you don't, just create one by typing it in here, and then you can click on your enemy again and assign that layer. So now if we hit play, our enemy will come towards us, and every 2 seconds we take some damage. And our enemy still follows us. Perfect. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. If you found it helpful, be sure to chuck down a like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you.